and welcome to the Raw Review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by Dadley Boyz, Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of Men in the Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Monday Night Raw, but also SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett to review last night's Raw and the go-home show ahead of Elimination Chamber. Wrong show.
Yeah, I don't think it is, mate. I think this is the right one. I think every week on Friday is the wrong show. Right now, it's the Road Dogg show. God, I am not somebody. I think over the years, we've shared little tidbits about ourselves that help our listeners and viewers, and indeed each other, understand ourselves a little bit more. And I think I've made it clear that, like, my version of like a luxury spa weekend is effectively crisps and a Raw like this. That is all I need, is food that can be served in a bowl, cereal, not crisps, or from a packet, on a tray in front of a Raw like this.
Yeah.
Like, for those that like to go to those really expensive places where you get your own dressing gown and fuzzy slippers and you go in a jacuzzi, hate that. Like, other people's bodies, get them away from me. I want to see other people's bodies on television.
Yes.
On a recognised symbol of excellence in sports entertainment. World Wrestling Entertainment, thank you very much. And I got it. I got it for 3 luxurious hours. On it, like, from moment one till the very, very end. The gripping finale of this edition of Monday Night Raw.
Their flexible runtime really came in handy here, didn't it?
Yeah, it was just such a pleasurable experience. I don't think the power has gone, so I have no need to proclaim it back.
Definitely not.
But it was just nice to see the power again tonight.
Yeah.
I've not had a brilliant 2025 with WWE, and just this was all in all, this was probably, though the heights didn't reach something like Punk and Cody in the go home of the promo for the Royal Rumble, for example, and there's been other like select moments. As a Raw and as a collected experience, this was possibly the most satisfied I've been with a WWE TV show standalone of 2025.
Yeah, I thought it was a sensational show for a variety of different reasons. Like you say, it's not just one thing you can, point to and be like, well, that was great. Everything else was kind of just there, but that was great. But there was so many moments on this show that I really enjoyed. So much
needed
so that
needed it after SmackDown.
When I was making my notes, I was like, oh yeah, and then I've still got the main event obviously to get to. And I was like, God, Cody and Seth's promo as well to talk about. So much to get into, and what better place to start the show off this loving for wrestling than with Logan Paul, who enters to kick off Raw.
It's pretty good.
And he's obviously from Ohio, and he is booed despite that. And he says, I'm just like you, but better. And he talked about being on his bird and flying into a dreary grey Cincinnati and basically saying, I don't want to be a pilot, turn around. But, hey, he decided to come to Cincinnati after all to perform for the peasants because he's just that humble, And he said after they booed him again, well, you don't appreciate good talent. Just look at what you did to Joe Burrow. Huh? Sports reference.
Yeah, I was booing him through my screen at this point. How dare you? Leave Joe Burrow alone. What's he done?
I think it's football.
Right, thank you.
I'll double check in a second. He talks about beating Rey Mysterio to qualify for the Chamber. Then he's going to beat 3 doorknobs and John Cena, go on to WrestleMania,
dickhead,
and become the face of this company. But thankfully, he's interrupted by CM Punk, who comes out to a huge pap.
Not from you, obviously, because he was wearing a jumper supporting a teachers' union.
I was going to say.
You probably were like shoe at the top.
Heel turn?
What is this?
No, Chicago Teachers Union shirt. That was lovely. I did like the bit where he's like drinking in from the fans and Logan Paul like, yeah. And I did like the brief. Sometimes it's when people don't say something. Logan Paul said, "What's your problem with me?" And I was like, "Well, don't ask him that." But Punk didn't answer, and Logan talked about Punk subtweeting him and Punk being jealous because Paul's successful at everything that he does, whilst Punk's career is just basically him failing upwards. Punk's like, "Hey, I ain't got a problem with you. You're a dime a dozen, a loudmouth kid who did stupid and ignorant things for the shock of it. You think that makes you a generational talent, but you've got no character or substance, and the fans deserve better. Hang on, I think there's a button for this.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
Yeah, as much as Bobby Fish would hate that soundbite being used on something to praise CM Punk, this was extremely cathartic. Like,
Yes.
I needed somebody to say this. And the fact that it was the punker in particular who could articulate it as well as he did was very, very joyous.
It was the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, Joe Burrow, who was referencing there.
Yeah, slam dunk.
They've been delaying contract talks with him. They're being tight, basically, from what I can read very briefly here.
To get a lot of home runs.
They did sign a $275 million deal with him. Oh, okay.
What have you found?
That's not bad, is it? $275 million.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So that's like what they've signed him for, but he wants some more.
I don't know.
I don't care.
Right, anyway, Logan Paul fires back that Punk's return, yes, was one of the biggest ever, but then he immediately crumbled under the pressure and got hurt. He references Stone Cold Cena, Punk, but the name of the top guy changes over time, and it's just a matter of time until they chant my name. And they chanted CM Punk's again. Punk says Paul's wrong about a lot, but he's right that names do change. All the names mentioned were legend, including his own. And he said, I make history when I'm under pressure. You've never made history. You're barely a flash in the pan. You're not even going to be here long enough to be remembered. Punk said he planned on eliminating Logan Paul from the chamber, facing Cody Rhodes and leaving Las Vegas with the title. Please. He said, I'm going to make history, and Logan, you're going to be history. He didn't care if Cody Rhodes thought he had to sell his soul to beat him, because he's going to find out that Punk is Satan himself and Logan Paul is a nobody.
Oh my God.
They get face to face, and Logan Paul slaps CM Punk and immediately bails out of the ring before Punk can do anything about it. And Punk just smiles and says, run while you can, because you're going to be locked in a cage with me on Saturday. I'm going to get my hands on you, and you're going to understand why the fans chant my name.
Made me bleed my own blood. Like, said those last words through the blood that is starting to pool in his mouth, which, work or shoot, is a really lovely touch, because we know that even as a slap, Logan's got punching power. So Punk selling that, if nothing else. And
Good slap.
the slap being there.
Good slap.
Good slap. Great fundamentals.
One of you nuts saying.
Yeah, the slap being this little act of physicality, as if the Punk line at Kevin Owens that was followed by the Rumble elimination, that was followed by the little pot shots they've been taking at each other ever since, followed by this segment, and now the slap wasn't enough to heat up their exchange in Elimination Chamber. And let's be real, worry a lot of people, this is the WrestleMania direction for CM Punk.
Yep.
Was so effective that you have kind of unexpectedly added an extra layer to CM Punk's go-home Elimination Chamber rhetoric. We knew he was going to talk about the WWE title. We had a suspicion he might say something that would relate to The Rock's complete garbled mess on SmackDown, and he did that.
Hey, they
too.
cleaned it up in that promo later, didn't they?
Everyone was on cleanup, buddy. Right, and
It looked great. I'll go back and watch SmackDown again, if anything.
the wrestlers, the WWE production team, Kyle O'Reilly putting that video together, everyone that did a podcast on it, us included.
Seth, I'm going to need you to be my voice on this one, said Paul Levesque.
Everybody was on cleanup duty for Rock's mess, and this was kind of the start of it. But what an exchange between these two. It may surprise you, right? Can I just shock you?
Go on.
I am somewhat zen about wherever CM Punk sits on this WrestleMania card. One of the few benefits to me personally, and there hasn't been many about this build to WrestleMania thus far, is that because everything has felt so up in the air, and speculatively CM Punk has bounced from one triple threat to another, and that's if he doesn't make this Cody Rhodes title match, which of course is the best match. I think it's because you have seen that everybody, loud or quiet, has kind of looked upon WWE and gone, Punk and Cody's the biggest match in wrestling. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't happen, it's almost like this sort of, it's almost in its own way, another little dub for the punker, isn't it? Of like, yeah, everybody knew it. Fucking didn't give me it again.
Yeah.
But everybody knew it was mine, just like it was all the way back in 2013 And like, arguably it was during the height of the straight edge society when Punk said it, the best heel should take on the best baby face, in my opinion. It's come around all the way back again. And it should have been me. And it wasn't, and whatever. Like, they've got another build for next year's WrestleMania, and CM Punk's big dream, and they're staring at the sign if he doesn't accidentally chin somebody backstage first, or God knows what. It's always hanging in the balance. The tightrope is always being walked. But because of all of that, I am kind of just excited to see how the pieces fall at this point. I'm willing, for the entire card, I've been quite sort of vocal about my weird love of John Cena on this last run.
Yeah,
I want to give him Cody, fair enough.
I prefer it to be Punk, but I wouldn't be like, well, let's have a riot because it's Cena.
Yeah, like, and where does Roman get in? And against my better judgment, sometimes I kind of like Seth. God bloody bless him.
Yeah,
just, like I do sort of have like a lot of patience for this. Like this men's main event scene and about however it all falls. I would love Punk and Cody to be the match.
Me too.
I've wanted that since before AEW existed, and especially after it launched. So for it still to be on the table here in February 2025 is exciting. It is. But if it ends up being Punk and Logan Paul, I kind of want to look at that too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like they've sold it in such a way where if it is just for the benefit of, let's say, a spot in Elimination Chamber or a Netflix TV main event, fair play. You know, they've absolutely created tangible tension between these two that were destined to hate one another. Look at them. Like, they were never, ever going to find common ground. And now, whether it's in the Elimination Chamber with an elimination like it was at the Rumble with Logan Paul's shock elimination of Punk, you've got something, you've got enough meat on the bone to sell any version of this match. If you want to try and ramp it up to WrestleMania, I absolutely trust Punk to get them there. If you want to do it as a TV special on the road to WrestleMania, it's going to feel big, isn't it? This is a Raw main event on Netflix if you want to use it. So I was pretty electrified by this.
I said this week I'm more hopeful than I have been. I'm still not 100% confident, obviously, that Punk wins the Chamber and goes on to face Cody at WrestleMania. But there was a tiny bit in the back of my head that was like, what if WWE just go, well, you know, you guarantee yourself a WrestleMania main event, don't you? Win the Royal Rumble, so just win next year's. Any problems with that?
Well, this is it. That's maybe not necessarily on his bingo card for 2020.
Just win the Rumble, mate.
Just enter and win. Do your best.
Can't remember where it is, but...
pick a number.
Anyway.
Pick one of them boys.
The first match of the night was Penta in triple threat action against Pete Dunne and Ludwig Kaiser.
That's what he does.
And speaking of things that get better every week, Penta's entrance.
Yeah.
It keeps... I think it was a lighting change this week.
It's a lighting change, and I swear the swirly business was bigger because the stuff...
The swirly business.
That's right. Our old... another call-up from NXT, of course, Mrs. Catherine Wheel. When it was doing that, the sparks were like hitting the sides and the floor like Goldberg's would.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know like how pyro works because they would bounce off his body. It's like, how's that not setting him on fire? But like the little sparks were enough. They were like little fiery balls.
Yeah.
And they would bounce off the floor and it just looked more impressive.
He clearly is having a great time, Penta.
Yeah. Does his little gimmick where he's in the header and then he's doing the stuff with the fans. They're into it as well.
Yeah. They both want to kick his ass though. Dunne drops Kaiser with an enziguri. He gets ranaed by Penta. And we go early on to break after a Penta crossbody to Kaiser and Dunne on the floor. When we come back, Kaiser and Dunne are setting something up in the corner, but Penta gets underneath, big sort of Tower of Doom spot. He power bombs them basically. He also uses a Hurricane Rana to send Dunne into Kaiser and then takes them both out with separate flip dives. Kaiser gets some advantage by yanking on the mask, and Dunne actually hits the bitter end on Penta, but Kaiser breaks up the pin. And at one point, Kaiser, I think, selling his hand. He's haunched over, basically, and Penta jumps off his back to hit Dunne with a Mexican destroyer.
Just on that, really, really briefly, it was, you know, when Punk gets silence for the remarks about his AEW tenure, smacking Jack Perry or anything with the Young Bucks or whatever, and there's just nothing, and the fans in the building, by and large, don't really care. Like, there is something to this that maybe needs to be studied or talked about more. Because the way the fans came up for this, a lot of them have never watched Dynamite in their life, have they?
No.
What is effectively like Dougie off. Of course I played Hamflett. You seen Dynamite? No, like that Penta. I'm not saying he's turned the Canadian Destroyer into a transition spot over the years, but he's worked pretty bloody hard at it. And like we've seen step up ones, ladder ones, table one, like every single variant of it. That move with the person hunched over on the apron, that to the floor. Like they've explored every single version of this sport. This by this point is like the headlock equivalent of the Canadian Destroyer, like the elevated Canadian Destroyer. And fans went absolutely insane.
What's he done there?
Yeah, oh, Jesus Christ. Like it's as if he just bent time and space in order to do it. It speaks to something. Like WWE is, and it's to their immense credit, hasn't just found fans with tits because they're not bothered with TBS, but they've also found like new fans, full stop.
Yeah.
The holy grail of any wrestling promotion. Like your regulars, your diehards will only take you so far. New fans, young fans, engaged fans, plugged in fans, but plugged into your product. Like you've mentioned to me in the office this morning about like the people that are like trying desperately to bring up in conversation with you in a nonchalant way, but you can see them. You can see exactly what they're doing. What's it called? WEW? So that thing on Netflix. Is that what you do?
Yeah. Literally the lads at five-a-side we talked about
around
it.
just saying, just admit you're quite into the Fed.
It's not a guilty pleasure.
Not anymore. It's mainstream entertainment.
It's just pleasure. That's all it is.
Prioritise pleasure. Prioritise the World Wrestling Federation.
Anyway.
Where am I?
Penta.
I'm in a TV ad for the Fed. Also, is it maybe because of the impact of the Kevin Owens pile driver that or like the newer fans who might
they've held back on stuff,
thinking
haven't
about
they?
Adjacent to that, it's a quick, but it's the same idea, isn't it? Like
That's it, and Penta still gets to do one like every match. So it's like, that guy should put a guy out for 6 months. Randy Orton fights him, he's never coming back.
So Penta super kicks Kaiser, gets done, snaps his arm with a sacrifice, sets up for the Penta driver, but that gets broken up. Kaiser pushes him to the outside, dumps Dunne on his head, and steals the win. 1, 2, 3.
Over delivery of the year, this match.
Yeah.
Like, really, really shrewd matchmaking. It's like full credit to whoever kind of pitched this, suggested it, and then helped agent it, because the booking is what it is. The Pete Dunne, Ludwig Kaiser pairing is not the most inspired thing, but it feels a little bit like the kind of necessary step for Kaiser in something we've talked about and acknowledged, which is his route to kind of a genuine singles run. He is on the verge post-WrestleMania, I would say, of really, like, might not be for the world title yet, and especially if Gunther's still holding it. But if Jey Uso was to win, you could well see Ludwig Kaiser as his first defense, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Gunther going, get me that back. Get me that back. Like, so straight away you could kind of see him in that spot as a first opponent for Jey Uso. So having him start racking up the wins along with this added profile he's getting, real beneficial. Pete Dunne wasn't boring. Jesus Christ, how did that happen? And Penta, whilst not necessarily belt to belt, like ever really setting the world on fire, there's not yet been a match that has just had you kind of telling people, stop everything. And to those people that you're speaking to at Final Side, or like you maybe your lapsed fan mates who are tiptoeing around it because of the button on Netflix, you're not going, the one guy you need to see is Penta, like bell to bell. The entrance is really cool, but like there's not this one spot of it. I remember the first time I saw AJ Styles and feeling like I need to tell people.
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam, wrestlers like that. But in the building, Penta's matches get louder and louder and louder, and he is so over as a babyface already that, again, when we presume it's going to be the New Day, get the heat on him real bad, and Ray makes a save. It's like, you've got one of the coolest babyface tag teams in all of wrestling when they put Ray next to him, and it's not even his proper Ray. Like, Mysterio's the novelty bit. Then Phoenix is going to, then the fans are going to be like, oh, it's like Tyra Penta, I've seen it all. Like, well, these fans that are still popping for the first look at a Canadian Destroyer, what the fuck are they going to do when Ray Phoenix shows up? Like, they're going to get a good year out of Penta, at least.
Yeah. We got a video package recapping John Cena and his history of the Elimination Chamber and his Rumble address, talking all about that, of course. And then Jackie Redmond's chatting with Rhea Ripley in the crowd, obviously ahead of her title defense against Io Sky next week. And she admits she's never beaten Io Sky, and she's going to have to do that if she's going to make it to WrestleMania. It's been 5 years since they last... 5 years. 5 years since they last faced off. And since then, she's become the most dominant woman in WWE. She's beaten everyone from Becky Lynch to Charlotte Flair, and she's going to add Sky's name to that list after next week. Io Sky joins, threatens her in Japanese, talking about how much stronger she's become, and basically says she's going to beat her again and go into WrestleMania as Women's World Champion. And there's a lovely face-off between the two of them. Great match for next week.
I can't wait for this. Io beat her, if you remember, in that, now, we kind of like said as much at the time, but that really underappreciated title reign she had in the Pando, where she held the title from, I think she won it in your house.
I was going to say in your
Rhea
house,
Ripley,
yeah.
Because she won it off Charlotte Flair, but it was Rhea that got pinned.
If anyone know about in your house, it'd be you.
Indeed. I am Hamflett, from Benno and Hamflett in your house, wherever you get your podcast if you're into new gen coverage. But the triple threat there, and then the singles rematch where she beat Rhea in NXT, one of the many great EO defenses from that time, where that women's division was pretty much the last thing NXT had, let's be honest. The rematch next week, well, not the rematch, but this latest match between the two of them, couldn't feel any hotter unless it was booked for a PLE. Like, they've got, I would again, like this tag title match this week, strongly campaign for this to go in the main event of next week's Raw. Raw's going to be a big deal next week. You're going to have an Elimination Chamber winner, theoretically. You're going to know what Cody Rhodes has done in relation to The Rock, theoretically.
Tag titles on the line?
Unless The Rock's just changed his mind and they're doing something different. The tag belts are on the line. WrestleMania will never look as set as it should do next Monday night. And yet, if they can, and I think they can, justify the main event slot for Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky, for then the Chamber winner to come out at the end and us have the confirmation of the two people staring down, Rhea Ripley or Io Sky versus Chamber winner, WrestleMania, good to go. I think it's going to be the best this division has looked in a while. We've said this, the wrestling is increasingly getting Triple H's middling creative out of trouble on Raw. The quality is pretty high. SmackDown's got the opposite problem. I cannot wait for this match.
Yeah, really, really excited for that. What followed, was a break during which I'm fairly certain that the New Day talked about a local delicacy being the best dog food they'd ever seen.
Skyline chili.
That was it, thank you.
Which, again, I've loved in the last few years, wrestling, like remembering that it can use local cuisine and local tourist attractions just for heat or for big pops. AEW were brilliant at it for ages, and I think that was where I first heard about Skyline Chili, because all the wrestlers kept mentioning it. And then it was our very own Brian Weddick, the SmackDown Photoshop correspondent, that educated my ignorant ass on Skyline Chili, because it's a Cincinnati favourite. So maybe that'll come up again on NXT tonight. Spoiler for the preview pod that we'll be doing later on. Google, if you can, as a bit of NXT homework for people, the Andrew J. Brady Centre, because NXT's running it tonight, and I reckon that wrestling's going to look gorgeous.
Oh, proper wrestling show there, yeah. Really exciting to see.
Can't wait.
So it's the New Day versus the LWO, Cruz del Toro.
We're going to get grassed up for this one.
Yeah, always. Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. We'll do it again on the preview, don't worry about it.
I'm going to be raging on Blue Sky.
I've also got an amazing stat to hit you with on the NXT preview, by the way, about a team I'm really excited to see on NXT.
Stats.
The LWO look great in here, as we always say they do. Love Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. They dominate early on. Double elbow, hip toss into a splash and a moonsault. But Woods slips out of a suplex, makes the tag, and Kofi pulls down the rope, so Cruz flies over them onto the floor, and
Cruz and Woods.
Kofi puts the boots to the LWO, and they do the unicorn stomp, but the evil version, basically.
Woods Day.
I'm sorry, it's all gone wrong because you've just said Woods, and I've just typed New Dad versus versus. I haven't even finished. I've just lost my head.
Oh, when like Wilbourn first came back off paternity, it's a new dad. Yes, it is.
Joaquin Wilde.
Sorry, quickly. It's just story still makes me laugh. What you did do on your first day back in the office after having a baby was come back in.
Oh, yeah.
Expecting, like, the pop of all pops we've discussed a million times, Wilbourn will drag a pop out of you kicking and screaming, often when it's raining, and he says so much for the summer.
Middle of winter.
Often when he, or anybody else for that matter, is late and says, afternoon.
Classic.
Often when he comes to your desk and threatens to pour hot coffee on your laptop keys. It's all
it's
good
just a prank, bro.
It's all good stuff. And Wilbourn, presumably, had got this shirt and had been excited for weeks for this little slice of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Walked in the office. He's a new dad. He's like, jacket split open. I'm your pappy. It's like, it's a wrestling shirt and I'm a new dad. And we all just sat there quietly and looked at our desks because that's what we bought him as a welcome back gift. And,
two of them now.
Everything was ruined because there went our pop and there went his. And nobody laughed. Apart from Wilbourn, who's laughing because he's got two shirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Money well spent.
That's it, yeah. Less washing. You know as well as anyone now, the washing machine is always on when you got kids.
Yeah.
So at least you can, like, wear it when the other one's in the wash.
But the other kid,
So Whacking Wild flies in over Xavier, hits a DDT on Kofi, hits one on Xavier as well. They look great together. There's a tag to Cruz double dive. But when Kofi gets thrown back in the ring, Xavier Woods distracts the referee. Kofi breaks up the Doomsday device by raking Del Toro's eyes. Kingston chucks Wild out of there, and they hit Del Toro with the up, down, that backbreaker diving foot stomp of theirs to get the 1, 2, 3. Keep kicking their ass afterwards. Dragon Lee runs down to make the save, and he gets done with a huge double powerbomb as well. And the New Day stand tall.
Thank God, after SmackDown's cowardly booking with finishes and the way it treated baby faces and all that sort of stuff, that they were willing to commit to baby faces getting beaten down by heels, because at the moment you're trying to get the heels over.
Yeah.
Like, this was a comprehensive victory. Like, the New Day were bastards. They were. Like, they've adapted some of their work. It's not just Mick Foley.
Like their gear now as well.
Yeah, the whole thing, it's really coming together. Like, it's not just like Mick Foley grabbing a headlock in the ECW arena heel work, which is lovely, but they've been able to start incorporating some of their stuff they used to do, but doing it with either a bit of swagger or doing it to like antagonize the crowd rather than pop them. So they're wrestling their way back to sort of the best versions of themselves, but not getting cheered for it. So it's you're almost at like the platonic ideal of the heel New Day. As you say about the attire, they're in these like, it's like just darker, danker coloured versions of the old colourful attire. So they're just, everything is really starting to click for the New Day. And in the meantime, because they're obviously in this foo-ed that has now brought in Dragon Lee, there's probably another banger match to have on Raw that forces, and we've already mentioned him, the likes of a Penta, and Rey Mysterio is the link between these two groups, isn't he? Like, or these two parties, I should say. Like, Rey Mysterio is the linking guy who's going to come back to get his revenge and help out Dragon Lee. And Penta, showing deference to Rey Mysterio, is going to help him, and all of a sudden the New Day have like found themselves a way bigger problem than they thought they first had. And they would do that because now they're like arsehole heels that just always think they're just these self-righteous guys that think everything they're doing is justified, and they're not going to see the consequence of their actions until they're right in the face.
Imagine like that, the babyface stars that are the New Day and Chad Gable now being a heel trio taking on Latino superstars, basically.
So there are many reasons why I would love Jey Uso to win the world title at WrestleMania, but I think what a 1 month, 2 month story you could tell with either Kofi wanting to have that moment again, or Woods, the one New Day guy that never won the singles world title, in a singles program against Jey Uso for the world, and having like Big Jim in his corner and on his side to help offset the interference. I think it's such rich material to play off there.
I agree.
Like, if Jey Uso is ever to become world champion.
I think he will. I hope so.
Me too.
We go to the clubhouse. All is not well for the Judgment Day. Finn Balor telling Dom last week was the most embarrassing day in the history of the Judgment Day. With a big chair. Says it's all Dom's fault.
Yeah, it's okay. The guy that embarrasses the Judgment Day is on the insane, so we don't need to worry about him anymore.
Dom was like, you only had a qualifying match because of me, and you lost. We need a new member. Finn's like, not having a new member. In comes Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Even Liv's like, you two still bloody fighting? We got a big week, come on. You know, we got the Chamber for me, obviously, on the weekend. We got a tag title match tonight. We're going to bring gold to the Judgment Day, and that's all that matters. And Balor's like, you should be worried after what you did to Jade Cargill. And they're like, we didn't do it. It was Naomi. But regardless, we're going to still handle Bianca and Naomi. Look, Balor, get on the same page. Help Dom with Bron Breakker. And I was like, he's doing what tonight? Great.
It's just like week after week now with the Judgment Day, isn't it? It's like, it's so over, we're so back.
Yeah.
And they're so back this week.
Yeah.
I loved the Judgment Day this week. And there was definitely a point around Royal Rumble time where I was pretty much sick of it all.
We were just like, can we just get to the Wyatt Six ending them all?
Yeah, whatever it is that is the big...
I even popped at Balor, you handle your business. And we'll handle ours or whatever. Him and Morgan both say that effectively. Carlito goes, ooh, yellow apple.
he's great. Like, Daft Apeth in the corner, Carlito, still providing the pops. Finn Balor's fury about the prospect of this no new members, like that. And there's going to be a new member, isn't there?
Yeah.
This is the beat now of this story. And Dominik being so determined to get this new member and Finn being so furious about that.
They're going to have a vote, aren't they?
They're going to do something. And I'm front row for it because I still want to see all this like go down in flames with the Judgment Day. I still think like obviously they're close to the end and the beginning, but this little stay of execution is like feeling enjoyable again. I like being back in the clubhouse.
Question.
Oh,
do you enjoy it enough to like do the bit again?
Ooh.
That's a question. I'm just asking questions.
Look,
I'm just asking questions.
if they're in the state they're in over WrestleMania weekend, I would be prepared to bring the bit back
I agree.
at our live show on April the 18th at the HyperX Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, the site of WrestleMania. Probably shouldn't have my cinema, it's problematic. But anyway, it's also going to be the site of the biggest and best What Culture live show ever because we're going to be doing our live show, all this nonsense on stage, all good stuff, entrances, daft Q&As, panels, the lot. Yeah. Then, he's going to do this again. Then we're going to do a first ever, I think, live SmackDown watch-along, the same as the pay-per-view ones we do on the YouTube channel, but in person on the biggest screen in all of Las Vegas. If SmackDown's looking a little bit expensive for you at the T-Mobile Arena, and understandably so at these Fed prices, get yourself along to our live show for the perfect way to watch SmackDown before WrestleMania, the go-home edition of SmackDown, and then what's the best way to experience all the coverage after the fact? Being there in person for that as well. Simon Miller's going to be doing our live ups and downs. We're going to be doing our WrestleMania 41 pre-show podcast.
All right.
And that needed more, let's be honest. Yeah, the iambic pentameter has all gone to now, but nonetheless, that is a sense of the swears at a live show, so you're going to hear them in person as well. Then after all this sort of ups and downs and the podcast and all that, there's going to be loads of opportunities for pictures, fantasy booking crack, more Q&A, selfies, the lot, and then just basically drinking the night away in the HyperX. Bingo! It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We cannot wait for it. And it's going to be a capper to our What Culture World Tour. All the information is available at whatculture.com/tickets. I believe the dates will be on the screen as, thank you, Nicholas, as I speak. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. We cannot wait.
I love that I do a thumbs up to avoid us talking, and he says, "Thank you, Nicholas, for putting the
Yeah.
thumbs up."
Yeah. It's going to be as polished
We're
as
professionals.
this is live.
Yeah.
Really excited. whatculture.com/tickets. I wanted to mention this. A lot of people probably didn't see it, but there was a nice moment with Kathy Kelly interviewing AJ Styles during the break. And a little bit of a moment between him and Logan Paul.
Yeah. Logan Paul and AJ Styles probably have more in common than not.
Yeah.
IRL. But AJ Styles, as this current babyface version of himself, would hate Logan, and you can do stuff there. I flagged this up a couple of weeks ago, and it was started with somebody's kind of preposterous linking back to the origins of the Judgment Day. But is it something that this was sequenced right next to the further discussion about the new member and Finn Balor and AJ Styles, a little bit of beef and the rumours about their WrestleMania match? And could that insane fantasy booking be onto something? And is this like Liv remembering that it was AJ and Finn, that, you know, Finn, like remember it was him in the first place. Why don't we get him back? And then like AJ Styles, well, why's it purple? Actually joins.
I'd love it.
Like
Styles in purple tights too would be cool.
He looks good in purple, AJ Styles. He wore it at a SummerSlam in tribute to The Undertaker that year.
I remember that.
In a boring match against Samoa Joe. They had a load of them.
I mean, like full purple though, not like black with purple.
Oh, yeah.
Full purple.
Full purple.
Full purple.
Because, he was a Judgment Day origin story, of course, because not only was he in the match with Finn Balor and Liv the night before Finn booted Edge out of the Judgment Day, he was the man wrestling Edge when Damian Priest came to help Edge at WrestleMania 38 after their awesome WrestleMania match.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, if you don't believe me, just ask the people in the front row holding up the signs of Edge at WrestleMania.
We saw a former TNA star in the crowd, Pac-Man Jones.
Bit of me, this. I wish they could have got R-Truth over for this. Get Team Pac-Man back together. Oh, it's great, man. Who's back? Who's back? It's Pac-Man Jones. He can't do a move, so he's just throwing basketballs at Bully Ray. Who's back? Who's back? It's Pac-Man Jones.
I do remember the Brian Alvarez rant about this.
They didn't check if he could take bumps. They were told no. So he's like, we're going to need obviously Ron Killen's going to have to do all the work. No, you don't get it. He cannot do it. should we call Austin Creed Consequences? And then it's Truth or Consequences. Yeah, we're going to bloody have to. I liked it.
Me too.
Apparently he was a right bastard. I don't know. I'm not like, this is not like my problematic fave or anything. I just have happy memories of TNA, but I'm pretty sure Pac-Man Jones got into some bad stuff when he was younger.
Yeah, real bad stuff.
Real bad.
Funny
though. It's a bit lol TNA.
Gunther comes out. He's in his gear. What's happening? He says he's going to embarrass Jey Uso at WrestleMania and end the Yeet circus once and for all. I should mention, by the way, when they were doing their usual, like, welcome to Raw, sweeping shot of the city or whatever, and here's so-and-so arriving and so-and-so. Gunther's walking through, and now it makes a lot more sense why they had this, because normally it's just like, walk, walk, walk. Oh, my God, they're here and they're going to be doing this. Gunther's bit was usual Gunther, grumpy walk. I'm here at bloody work. And he walked past the Alpha Academy, doing one of their TikTok dances, and he looked at them like he wanted them to die on the spot. Well,
Cold, wasn't he?
In the spirit of WrestleMania, Gunther has told Postman Pierce that he's going to wrestle tonight against his own hand-picked opponent, Akira Tozawa. Perfect.
Yeah.
And Tozawa comes out like a man being led to the gallows, to be perfectly honest.
He does, but what a sublime bit of my favourite, the old Triple H.
Yeah.
What's the link between the two guys bit coming up here?
And yes, Gunther said he saw Tozawa dancing with the other two clowns. And that bothered him because these two had things in common, Gunther and Tozawa, that is. They both uprooted their lives to make a career in WWE. They both got into the shape of their lives to prove that they belonged. But now, Tozawa's wasted dancing like a goof for the degenerate fans. You're a degenerate. He made the wrong choice, just like Jey Uso, and Jey Uso's choice is going to cost him his career. But I heard what you said last week, Pat McAfee. Anything could happen on any given night. So, Tozawa, I'm going to give you the chance to earn my respect tonight. Come on, earn my respect, dickhead. Start shoving him. Come on, earn my respect. And the ref rings the bell and you're like, oh, God, what's going to happen? But Tozawa fires up.
Brilliant.
He starts nailing Gunther to the crowd like, let's go. He catches him a bit off guard, basically. Gunther's like, all right, mate, he's off. And then he gets a tiny bit of offense in. And you think, okay, that was fun while it lasted. Gunther boots his head off, kills him with a chop. And then he's like, okay, gets him in position. Here we go. Huge powerbomb. No, Tozawa counters. Victory roll. Near fall. Tozawa comes off the top, but this time Gunther catches him and puts him in a Boston Crab. But Tozawa, egged on by the rest of Alpha Academy, gets to the ropes for a rope break. He tries to fight back with chops. But Gunther plants him with a powerbomb. He's got the match won, but he's a knobhead. So he pulls Tozawa up off the mat at 2 and dangles the poor bastard. I suppose I'd describe this as sort of Brody King-esque to Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Over the ropes he did it. This was in the middle of the ring, but yeah, he's put Tozawa in a sleeper and just lifted him so his little feet are dangling. Tozawa passed out. The referee calls it. And got even better after the match because he's like, oh, kill Tozawa even more. In comes Otis to make the save, and Gunther just looks at him, shoves him. Go on, in my respect, dickhead. And he starts gyrating, and Gunther's like, what the hell's going on here? He leaves. Otis goes to check on Tozawa, and of course Gunther slides back in and puts a sleeper on him until Jey Uso makes the save to chase away Gunther, and there's even a little Otis along with it. I loved this.
Yeah. Mwah. Chef's kiss. All of it. Sublime pro wrestling television, this, I thought. Where do we even begin? So, the Jey Uso Gunther thing that we keep talking about, the contrast, the idea that, like, just how seriously is Gunther taking Jey Uso? Or I guess, how seriously should he take him? Because he beat him clean as a whistle at Saturday Night's Main Event. So he has every right. He would be arrogant anyway. He would resent the Yeet chance. He would hate everything that Jey Uso stands for anyway. The fact that he's already beaten him with relative ease only heightens the anger.
It's his. Lads, it's Tottenham. Come on.
Yeah, and that Gunther would have to, in his mind, like, throw away a WrestleMania on this. Like, it's such a unique way to build a world title match already. But what we know that Gunther doesn't, which is really, really amazing that they can play with dramatic irony considering it's WWE, is that we know Jey can do it. And we
And
know
they're main eventing WrestleMania in all likelihood.
we know Jay's got the fire in his belly in a way that Gunther refuses to acknowledge. And maybe he'll only acknowledge it at the very last minute, like the go-home segment or something like that. But in the meantime...
And what happened the last time you faced someone with fire in their belly at WrestleMania?
Exactly, right? And in the meantime, and you make that point, that Gunther, you think he learns from his mistakes, but sometimes he doesn't. And that's key. It's almost like Miro's neck.
Yeah.
Gunther's slight lack of respect for some people he should care a little bit more about is often his undoing. And that perfectly played into this. Because for Gunther, and Akira Tozawa was amazing. I'm going to get to that in a second because I want to break this up into different things to praise. But for Gunther to look upon Alpha Academy doing their TikTok dances and go that's the same as Yeet to me. That's so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Not just to Jey Uso, but kind of disrespectful to Akira Tozawa and Otis, who on their day can get it done, right? So he's kind of he's overlooking two separate things all at the same time in the service of promotion of this Jey Uso feud. So then he gets Tozawa. I absolutely loved the links, the comparisons he drew between him and Tozawa. I thought that's what I still think Triple H is best at in all of his booking. People say it's simply competent or simply coherent or whatever. I think often it is better than that. And I think that's my version of flair within WWE. It's finding those little things that immediately make you go, okay then, well, let's go to work.
I loved it, yeah.
Let's go to work, and I love that. Then the match starts. And there is a scene at the end of season 2 of I'm Alan Partridge, the weaker of the two seasons, but still a great season, where Partridge is trying to deal with the fact that his book's about to get pulped, right? And he's at a funeral, something. He's at a function where he keeps bumping into a character being portrayed by Rob Brydon, who, every time he kind of circles back to him at this function, Rob Brydon's got a new complaint about the book. So, Partridge is trying to be fine about it. But the first time, Rob Brydon greets him with his complaint, he's like, F off.
Yeah.
Right? And that's Gunther's first one when he tries to, shoo him away.
Yeah.
It's a rule of 3 gag. So, I'll try and keep these as close together as I can. But Partridge has circled the room again. And this is when, Gunther's kind of dealt with the first flurry by Akira Tozawa. And he's like, Rob Brydon's going, I just didn't think it was that funny. Off! Like that. And the tension's really heightened now. That's gone through. The third one, at the point at which he's got to so he's done the power bomb. Yeah. At the third one, where he's got to strangle him after death in the middle of the ring, that's Partridge grabbing the Rob Brydon characters by their suit and going, F off! Like that. That's what he's entered that specific mode of F off to Akira Tozawa at the point that he's got him in the ring. It's
a great visual as well.
He started it.
Yeah. In my respect, everyone said, all right, don't hurt it.
Yeah, don't actually hurt it. Just what a wonderful, economical, and entertaining, 8-10 minutes of wrestling television.
And we're going to get Otis versus Gunther, presumably, as well.
They are.
I want to see that. Advertise that one.
Yeah, why not? Let's do that. They are.
What if Gunther does the caterpillar? I'm just putting it out there. I can do silly bollocks as well, Jay. Watch this.
Pop up and just do a double stomp on his back on as he's caterpillaring because he's so quick. Every week, all seriousness now, every week WWE are answering the question, how are you going to get us to Mania?
Yes.
Every week they're answering the question. It's because of everything that's happened with The Chamber and The Rock, are we calling this just the best thing in the company at the moment?
What? The Rock?
No, God, no. Jesus Christ, no. The world title, Jey Uso and Gunther. I look forward to this every single week.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue Liv Morgan to a certain extent.
Yeah, she's up there.
She's smashing it.
A wrestler of the year, Liv Morgan.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Raws before WrestleMania.
It's a lot. It is a lot, right?
But I'm well, go home. You don't really need to do anything. Just do the promo of maybe him finally acknowledging, all right, got a bit of something about you.
Yeah.
Match with Jimmy Uso. Mm-hmm. Match with Otis.
2 more Yeet weeks.
A couple of matches for Jay. We've barely got enough time now.
Done it. I live for the moment. More on that later. But because I live for the moment with WWE, I want to praise it now in case it does go cold before WrestleMania, because there is a while to go. Not only are they every single week they're kind of answering the question / critique of, you're going to get another week out of this? You're going to keep this hot? And it just keeps getting better and better and better. We are a month removed from Jey Uso winning that Rumble, and everybody, including me, on Twitter, going, well, Like, this actually solves a problem for WWE because you've got this awesome hot world title match that doesn't need to take a main event slot. I think it does.
It does.
I'm feeling increasingly like it does. Night one at the moment is all about these two.
Yeah.
And that only adds extra pressure to the main event circle of talent because Jey Uso and Gunther might be earning that spot right now.
Absolutely.
Taking it from some of the names that wouldn't have even considered
You don't
them.
want to close out night one with a stadium full of people yeeting.
That's how it feels right now,
Yeah.
isn't it? So we'll see.
Love this.
This is the anticipation I want to live in. This is the excitement and the drama and the speculation I want to live in when it comes to talking about WrestleMania. They're nailing it.
We get a video package this time for the Women's Elimination Chamber match, highlighting each wrestler. And then another over-delivery, in my opinion, not because I went in with low expectations of the wrestlers, but because I thought, it's going to be another one of those matches that the crowd don't care about.
Oh, yeah.
But Women's IC title, Lyra Valkyria versus Dakota Kai. Yes, the crowd was quiet at the beginning, but early on, I mean, after the commercial break, they really got into this. Lyra got knocked down on the apron. Dakota hit a cannonball to the floor. I just mentioned this because it was funny because it's not no one's fault, this. Dakota Kai knocks Lyra down on the floor and then gets all tangled up in the wires and just sits down on Lyra Valkyria's head because she falls backward. Funny. But
kind of like an accidental air saute.
Yeah.
Like Lyra's like, do I sell this or not? Because she's definitely on top of me here.
Yeah. Anyway, we come back from the break, and Lyra Valkyria hits a delayed superplex, which the crowd love. There's holy chants. They're really into it. Dakota Kai hit, in my opinion, the best scorpion kick she might have ever hit. It looked great there. They trade cradles, and the fans are really into this. I always forget to put over, when someone bridges out of a jackknife cover, whether you've been wrestling for 2 minutes or 20 minutes, I always think, I'd have been getting pinned. I'd be like, I've been pinned. I'm sorry, I couldn't get myself up.
It's funny, isn't it? Like, as non-athletes, all of wrestling scares me.
Getting up out of bed's hard enough.
Yeah,
for me.
every single thing. But the idea, like deep into a match, as you say, in the first 60 seconds. Excuse me, I've got to do what? I've got to bend my back with somebody else on top of me and then rotate and then balance myself all at the same time. No, thank you. I've lost.
But she bridges out of it and then hits a powerbomb for 2. Lyra comes off the top, but Kai catches her with a super kick. There's a running boot and a chiropractor for 2. And then they fight on the ropes, but Valkyria slips out and hits a Nightwing for the 1-2-3. Lyra Valkyria retains the women's IC title. There's a nice moment between the two of them after the match, and as Kai's leaving, Ivy Nile jumps her from behind, chucks her into the barricade, and takes out Valkyria in the ring before standing tall with that IC title belt for the match we were always anticipating.
The difference between how long is this match?
7:40?
7:40, call it 8 minutes. The difference between the 8 minutes here and the 8 minutes we were just talking about is that the aforementioned 8 minutes are in the men's division, and this is unfortunately the women's division. What I mean by that is that the action was as electrifying, as exciting, as... No, they couldn't possibly, could they? And then they nearly do. And this is familiar at this point with Lyra Valkyria and Dakota Kai, actually, this year especially. But what's happening with the Gunther and Akira Tozawa segment is booking, is creative flair, is direction that is meaningful because it's pointed towards one of the biggest title matches of the year, featuring 2 of the biggest stars that are well promoted, constantly promoted, and heavily promoted. This needs the action to survive, basically. Yeah. Look at this Ivy Nile post-match. Physically, it was fine, but Ivy Nile's just lost. And what have they got to do? Well, I've got nobody else set up, so might as well just go back to her again. It's this sense of it's Treadmill booking. We're going back there again because we haven't gone to the trouble of getting anybody over. Dakota Kai just loses all the time as a babyface, and maybe they're telling a story that will reveal itself. But are you optimistic that they are? Not really. It feels like she just slot back into another cool damage guitar tag fouad with somebody having now lost to Lyra twice in IC title matches, and in that awesome tag match against Raquel and Liv the other week. Dakota Kai has great matches and gets beat. That's what she does on Raw. There is nothing to say in contrast to Gunther and Akira Tozawa and Jey Uso and all of how that is feeding itself. There is nothing to say beyond, thank God they are able to wrestle a lack of creative out of trouble, because this match was terrific.
We get no surprise, great video package hyping up Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and then we see an interview from earlier on in the day with Sami and Jackie Redmond, and she references obviously that video we saw on SmackDown with Kevin Owens outside Sami Zayn's house, and she wants Sami to share a story as well, and he reveals that he went to Kevin Owens' house, and Kevin wasn't home, but his mother was, and she invited him in, and they caught up, and it was great. She was in good spirits. Sami went home and was ashamed of himself. He couldn't look himself in the mirror because he didn't recognize the man who went to Kevin Owens' house.
Shouldn't have shagged her.
He did. He didn't know what his intentions were.
How serious this feed's got him.
They weren't good.
Sami Zayn is a motherfucker.
Shagged your mum, Kev. Zayn and Owens have gone through a lot over the years, but family's never been involved. Zayn didn't recognise himself, but he also didn't recognise Kevin Owens. That's why this one's different. They're in a different headspace now. He understands why WWE won't sanction the match. His neck wasn't where he wanted it to be right now, on top of his shoulders. But they should be worried about what he does to Kevin Owens. This match is going to be worse than anything they've done to each other in the past. Owens better be ready because it's going to be a bad, bad, bad time for him.
Sublime. Absolutely sublime. I don't know why you would trivialize it with your vulgarity, but I love this. The test with this latest version, and I feel like this is like a show Bible thing where they're sat backstage and it's like, here's the rules. Here's the what?
Jag me a mother.
He's accompanied, of course, by Kevin Owens' mom.
It's canon now. Sami Zayn shagged Kevin Owens' mom.
And he did it with his own finisher as well, the pop-up power mom.
Wasn't me, Kevin. It wasn't me. It was El Generico. Yeah, the job feels like with this feud backstage, the rule is between Kevin and Sami and whoever's working on it with them, we have to basically treat this as brand new. Every single week, we've got to do something where we say, this is not like the prior million times we've fought each other, and here's why. And that's why it involves Kevin Owens cutting that, like, just haunted, like, dark promo outside his house as he looks on at, like, this, like, just this beautiful family scene. And he's, why you make me do this? Like, why are you making me destroy this family scene?
Hey?
And that's why Sami Zayn's got, like, his mom. And, like, they've had to escalate.
All you had to do was push Cody Rhodes off a ladder.
Yeah. Like, but that has been the genuine theme here is, like, say that we've done all this. Just put it out there. Yes, we've done everything to each other. And then find the new things that we've never done to each other. And it's so impressive that they've done that. And it's why it's not the only reason why the content is so believable, because it's Sami and Kevin. But that's been the rule of this. And I just wonder if we're supposed to, like, take that into the match. And we're supposed to, like, we're all thinking, well, you've seen what they've done to each other in the past, and it's as violent as it gets. And there's 8 power bombs in WWE and NXT, and there's, like, disgusting ladder war stuff from Ring of Honor, like the things that these inflicted upon each other. But if the theme of this story is we've gone where we've never gone before, what the hell did they do to each other? The sales pitch is what the hell did they do to each other?
Indiana Jones, bang.
Well, that happened in my wrestling figures. And, like, it was Warlord shooting Undertaker. And, like, he took 6 months off. And the pop when he returned from being shot to death was absolutely massive. Like, from the Invisible fans, they never saw it coming.
When you say 6 months, was it 6 months in your head, or did you legit hold it to 6 months?
Oh, I held it to 6 months because I had a book. I would write down, like, so I had, like, all my results, like in this little.
Please
like,
dig that out.
I'd love to. I don't know where it is. Like, I had notebooks because I would schedule. I did, obviously, did Raw on a Monday. This is like the early 90s. So I did Raw on a Monday. I did Saturday night's main event on a Saturday, and then I had I would occasionally do a Sunday night slam, or I would do an episode of WWF Mania, but there would be matches rather than just highlights.
Right.
I booked with my action figures. I didn't just get them out and play with them.
Yeah.
I would get quite annoyed when my mates would come around and be like, oh, I'm going to be him against him. It's just, we can't.
They're
both heels at the moment.
They're already booked for the weekend.
They're both heels at the moment. Like,
Just been shot.
This is it. Yeah, the Undertaker's been shot.
shot.
I can't just bring him back on television now. That doesn't make any sense. Like, the imaginary crowd are going to, like, I've got tickets to sell. Come on. I told you before, like, I turned Scott Steiner heel before, like, WCW did by, like, 5 years. He joined Ted DiBiase's corporation, like, years before he joined the NWO. he was pissed that Rick Steiner won the Rumble. And I was like, well, Bret and Owen's working in real life, so I'll do it with the Steiners.
Sounds good to me.
It was ace.
Did you smash a mug into your wall for the Stone Cold Steve Austin glass smash as well?
Do you know,
That's
Austin, I was just aging out of wrestling figure age when Steve Austin was breaking big, and it was in line with them stopping making Hasbros, so I never had a Steve Austin figure. That was just after my time. We're all in our 30s, but not by much. And I never had an Austin. I did have a some sort of like big fat Thundercats guy, and he was King Mabel. And I had an El Gigante who was Diesel, because there was never a Diesel Hasbro. And El Gigante from WCW was like the tallest Hasbro, but it was a WCW figure, so it just like stood there.
I told you about when I was Anne Louise's, one of her best mates' sons, really got into wrestling figures, and his mum would just buy stuff at her, like over the weekend at the jumble sales or whatever. And he was showing me all the ones, and he was like, yeah, you know, they have random ones that they're just huge fans of. It's like, why do you like The Rock? He's way better than all these. But it was the one who had the light change.
It was Sin Cara.
Sin Cara, yeah, he liked him. But I always remember the one where he was like, look, I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this. And I'd like try and get him some bits. Seth Rollins or whatever. And he'd be like, look, my mum got me this. It's Sting. And I went, it's Kevin Thorne from ACW. I think you'll find. But
like a confluence of things you hate, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's not Sting.
Got it wrong. I remember.
Unless he was in a Kevin Thorne disguise. Normally he'd go in disguises as Sting, right?
Yeah. Sting pulls off his mask. It's Kevin Thorne. I remember getting in real trouble, real bad.
Uh-oh.
I asked for an Undertaker Hasbro for a birthday.
I think I know what's coming here.
And folks, you've got the Undertaker. Like, you know how Mom and Dad, when the 10 heels at the Royal Rumble 1994 put him in the coffin and he rose to the heavens. What are you talking about, son? What's this shit you watch, son? And anyway, 10 heels put him in a coffin and he rose to the heavens. Yeah. And when he rose to the heavens, he kind of got a bit electrocuted. Yeah. And like on the screen, he went white. Yeah. So I brought my Tipex from school and I painted him all white. You did f***ing what? Get him out. Show me this Undertaker with Tipex. I can't. Why not? I was upset and I threw him in the bin. Didn't want to get in trouble.
Back to Monday Night Raw. And it was time for Bron Breakker versus Dominik Mysterio.
Second Undertaker came with a jacket. So.
All worth it in the end then.
Traded up.
I also like the fact that in Bron Breakker matches, this went to a DQ. It's only like 3 minutes or whatever. But I like the fact that if you're facing Bron Breakker, you can't even just do like I'll just push him off because he's got me in a headlock. Because he hits the ropes and then kills you.
That sets him away, doesn't it?
Don't let him start running. And there's McAfee going, it's coming. He's going to kill him.
Because he does, at this point, what used to be the wind-up for the spear is now a simple clothesline where he kills the guy.
Yeah.
Dominik takes the Rikishi Mighty Genetic, spins through the air, bump off it, because how could you not? Corkscrews through the air. It's like, and that's not even his big one. It's Bron Breakker's amazing. Bron Breakker's like, the fact he doesn't wrestle every week, I can't decide if it's like evil or evil genius.
Yeah.
Because it is, they're being tight with him. But God, you want it, don't you?
I still remember seeing him standing over a going, that ring just moved.
Yeah, we saw it, and then it went viral, didn't it? When it was the Wolf Dogs match.
I was like, is everything all right? It's great.
Oh, God, he's awesome. Yeah, this
comes in with a chainsaw and kicks and then a big X. Bollocks to this crap.
Question. Bron Breakker on Gladiators in Unleashed. Do you want him as the Gladiator or the Contender?
I want him as the Gladiator.
I want him as the Contender. I know what you're thinking. Because, you know, they
made it up the stairs, turns around.
They get the flag button because the spears like carry them through the air. No, I want him as the Contender, right? Because I reckon...
I want him on the edge. He should run across.
He's so fast, he covers the entire gap. On Unleashed, which, like, I'm aware that people are glad that we are addressing the controversial rules in Unleashed and why it doesn't work. The VAR of Gladiators, if you ask me. The Gladiator, it appears to me, because it looks so awesome when they just appear from the darkness. They're starting off a treadmill, aren't they? Because they're running like the like that.
I think they just get a run up.
Is that what it is?
It's got to be.
Gladiator, the contenders got standing starts. There's a couple of ways in which they're kind of disadvantaged. But Bron, I think, could not only skin a Gladiator from a standing start, but I think like the wall would move out the way. He would like go through the wall at such a pace. He'd be the first guy not to stumble on the bricks.
I think he'd start, run about 10 yards, turn around and run back at them. And they'd be like, I'm not going out there.
Head first into him. It's me or you.
Because it's not him going to touch him. You've got to take that flag off him, right? So if you just spear him,
Oh yeah,
then you can just walk round.
Could go your way, could go mine. Viper.
Anyway, Finn distracted the referee. Carlito tripped Bron. That allowed Dom to hit a senton and a 619 and a frog splash. But he goes up for a frog splash and Bron just leaps up. Salute Frankenstein. Let's go. Bron's going to kill him with a spear, but the heels drag him out and chuck him into the stairs. And they try to kill him afterwards. It's good because it means we're going to get more Bron Breakker matches, probably against Carlito at one point.
Yeah,
which is going to be fun because he gets back up, chucks Dom out there, spears Carlito, and Balor's sliding in with the chair. And as he slides in with the chair, Bron's just there waiting for him. He's like, collar draw. See you later.
I would quite like, after this week, Dom to, I think we should make Bron the new member.
Yeah.
Like, no, well, actually, maybe. This was quite nice as well because I sensed a narrative overlap here with AJ Styles because they've teased a little bit of Bron and AJ and they could both have a few problems with the Judgment Day and realise, right, we've got to work together for these. But if we can deal with these, then we can fight each other and the WrestleMania direction will become clear. Maybe it'll just be like a three-way with Bron and AJ and Finn because it doesn't look like there's going to be many multi-man matches on WrestleMania at the moment. So,
there is a video recap of the brilliant Cody Rock promo from SmackDown. At least that's what it looked like on Raw last night. WrestleMania 42 is in New Orleans. It's got the logo with the number on it as well, worth mentioning. And also there was a New Day promo during commercials. They were already in their street clothes because they couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. And they're off to Costa Rica next week.
yeah, just a fun way to tell you not on Raw, basically. Isn't
We're
it?
not here. We're going on our Hollybobs. See you later.
Whenever I hear Costa Rica, I always think of the scene from The Office where Toby grabs Pam's leg and shouldn't, and he's like, I'm going to Costa Rica, and just hops over the fence. It's real dark, man.
I always think of Paolo One Chop.
Paolo One Chop, or as the arsehole commentators called him, Paolo One Chop Hey.
Did they?
Yeah, some of them, you know.
Who was Paolo One Chop B?
That's good stuff. It's all good stuff, but that is good stuff. Love Paolo One Chop.
Yeah.
There's a commentator on FIFA. Just pops me and my youngest every time. Yeah. De Bruyne! It's like on FIFA 99 when it was, like just the volume was all...
I remember one of the FIFAs. You remember Stelios, who played for Bolton Wanderers?
Yeah.
Stelios Giannakopoulos, as he was known.
Nice.
Well, it's obvious. I think it must have been his first season, and they've just gone, hey, go, just record those names. And he's gone, how do you say this one? I don't know. And because presumably they were like, well, no one's going to really play with Bolton, don't worry about it. He basically had two ways of saying his name. So as long as you kept the ball with him, which we used to do because it was funny, he'd act like he'd run through the entire team and just scored an absolute worldie because he'd go, Giancopoulos. Still like just playing about in the middle of the defence. Giancopoulos! Like that. Just running. Just running. Just pissing about by the corner flag.
The Pro Evo guys used to have poor Peter Brackley's life, didn't they, with the Brazilian players. It was like, read it in full, Peter. Nobody ever reads the Brazilian names. Read it in full, Peter.
His name's Romario.
I think you'll find there's 7 more names after that, Peter.
Juninho, Pernambucano.
Pernambucano.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Better time.
Yeah.
What were the Creed brothers wearing whilst they're walking with Ivy Nile backstage, by the way?
I don't know.
American flag overalls and a bald eagle on it. Whatever it is, I want one.
I remain married to American maids strictly because of what they wear. Like, either the clothes they give them for these backstage segments or whenever they come out in the latest, like, Kurt Angle variant, it's like, all right, one more week.
Yeah.
One more week.
Basically, Ivy Nile, I like the fact that Kathy Kelly's like, did you attack yourself to get in the IC title picture? And Ivy Nile's like, yes. Niall said that the Creeds are going after the tag belts next week and she's going to beat up Lyra Valkyria every week until she gets the title match. They need to win gold before Master Gable returns. And then the War Raiders just jumped him. We got the match set up for next week.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, out next comes Cody Rhodes. And he looks at the crowd and gets the microphone. And he doesn't say what you think he's going to say. He says, I'm pretty sure I know what we need to talk about. That's how he talks.
That's exactly what he did. I'm surprised we're not going to get a copyright strike playing footage.
Oh, you're not going to believe this, that all the cameras just like on the wrong thing. You're going to have to do it again.
He didn't say what you thought he was going to say. He said, I'm pretty sure I know what he's talking about. Anyway, what does it mean to ask for another man's soul, he wonders.
Let me explain.
But he talks about growing up in this business.
It's like, sorry, this is like the reverse of that last Dynamite promo, isn't it? Where it's like, Cody, man, what the fuck are you talking about? You've said about 20 things and we don't know what the hell's going on. It's like, Cody, we need you to say 20 things and make it explicitly clear what the hell was going on
He did
Friday.
salvage this really well, didn't he?
Unbelievable promo from Cody Rhodes, this.
He said, look, it's good guy 101. Don't lie to the fans. I've never lied to you before. I'm not going to start now. But, yes, I'm an incredibly blessed man, but I'm not a team of one. And, you know, selling my soul to The Rock wouldn't just affect me. I've got my lovely wife, Brandy, my daughter, my sister, her family, little Brody in the Nightmare Factory, 2 nephews breaking into her name Rhodes, my mom.
Who's got it going on?
The memory of my...
You watch what you're doing, Sami Zayn.
The memory of my father. He talks about Dusty, as we all know, working into his 60s on the indie scene, breaking his body to make ends meet, and he said, I don't want that to be my future, basically. Basically, The Rock's told me I can have everything without having to scratch, fight, and claw. And he thought, that doesn't make a lot of sense now. Mm-hmm. And then he's interrupted by Seth Rollins. We all know the theme.
They're all singing it.
And he mentions this is the first time they're in a ring together for nearly a year since WrestleMania 40. And he wants this to be a moment of celebration. He wants to congratulate him and tell him he can't wait to face him at WrestleMania after winning the Chamber. But that is not why he's here. He says, Cody, what the hell are you thinking? We stood side by side a year ago, going against the Bloodline, against The Rock. And now The Rock is back and asking you to be his champion. The fact that you didn't slap Rock in the face was a slap in my face. Nice line, that. Don't make me regret what I sacrificed to help you win that title. And he wondered if becoming a champ, or being a champion, was becoming too much of a burden for Cody Rhodes. And Cody said, I wish this conversation was going differently. I want to show gratitude. You're being awfully judgmental, Seth. Rock showed up to ask for my soul, but he wouldn't ask you for yours because it may already be compromised. Rhodes knows who Seth Rollins is. He's the man who hit him in the back with a sledgehammer when he was leaving because he was injured. He turned on the Shield and saddled up with the authorities. He ran people like Cody Rhodes out of WWE. But he also knew that Seth Rollins was his Shield at WrestleMania 40. He was his partner, his brother. With one leg and a scrambled back, Cody says, Rollins helped him gain his family's biggest dream, and he was the MVP of WrestleMania 40. And Rollins says, I'm not there to judge you, Cody. I want to protect you from making the same mistakes I did. I want to save your soul, effectively. I've been filled with hate, and that hate was pointed in the direction of Roman Reigns and CM Punk. I don't want to hate you too, Cody. Cody can make his own decisions, do whatever he wants, but he doesn't want to face the soulless shell of Cody Rhodes after winning the Elimination Chamber. He wants to face the Cody that came back, beat him at WrestleMania 38 and Hell in a Cell with one arm. He wants to face the Cody that he helped win at last year's WrestleMania. He's not coming for Cody's soul. He's coming for Cody's title.
Oh my God.
So glad you pressed that button. Like, how nice was it to be back, like, in the world as opposed to wherever the Rock lives? Like, God almighty, this was brilliant. And it was fantastic on its own terms. It was why it pays to be a situational Seth guy. I think I've cracked the code with Seth Rollins. You cannot ever just, like, love this man unconditionally. Can you, Nicholas?
I can confirm it is impossible.
It is impossible to love this man unconditionally.
You will have your heart broken.
And I understand why just people think he's just the worst guy, right? Especially when the bell rings. I got a lot of problems with a lot of Seth Rollins' big matches. However, I consider myself a situational Seth Rollins guy because there are times and there are spaces that he occupies where he is the perfect wrestler. Whether that's to ultimately like be a bit of a linking agent between other wrestlers or be the ultimate WWE gatekeeper for somebody to get to the next level or whatever it is. There are different times and different examples, and people know what I'm talking about. This was another one. Seth Rollins is in that elimination chamber. Nobody's backing him to win, really. Not backing him. Nobody's picking him to win.
No.
Like, everybody sort of feels like the partition Drew and Damian Priest off over here. Everybody is, like, wondering how Logan Paul slots into WrestleMania full stop. Cena and Punk are the guys that could fight Cody, and then there's little old Seth freaking Rollins, who just is. And that is often the case in his WWE career. He just is. But that, and I think people forget this sometimes, allows him to sometimes be vital to what so many other wrestlers are doing. And this was another example of that. Like, he is in such a unique position now as a character where he gets to dress the way he dresses and he gets every now and then to cackle. But right now they're getting him to hate, right? So right now they're getting him to be motivated by feelings of spite and anger and ones that he's trying to keep bottled up that are occasionally like exploding out of him. That could lead to a heel turn. That could lead to a rebooted thing with CM Punk or whatever when somebody's a world champion. In this case, he's trying so desperately to squash the hate back down because of the love that he kind of like forged with Cody Rhodes last year at WrestleMania, that it's spilling out of both of them uncontrollably. Yeah. They are spewing bile at one another when they don't even really mean to. And it's all happened, whether The Rock meant it to or not, because of what The Rock did on Friday. They have added credibility to that complete mess, that debacle of a promo cut by The Rock, by themselves being such credible characters. This is, like I say, one of the promos of the year, not just because of what it achieved in the ring, but what it achieved in retrospect based on last Friday. Like, such an achievement, this. Such a wonderful, credible, believable bit of work. Cody had done so much of the legwork already because the line about, like, how, well, you know, Dusty had all of this, and then look how his mid-2000s were going. Like, he painted a picture of a life that could be his. We know that Cody and the bus and things are different now, and he's never going to be back in the situation that his dad found himself in the mid-2000s. But you'll buy it. You'll buy it as the reason why. This mirrored, and it's funny that it was Cody and Seth again. Before The Rock came back last year and actually ruined it and made Cody say, but not at WrestleMania. How impressed were we on that Raw where Seth tried to sell Cody on fighting him for that title, and we were yet to know the chaos that was about to ensue. We just thought, they're just trying to build a bit of suspense. Good on Seth for trying to talk Cody into this match. Fair play, mate. Like, you've made your title feel credible because Cody's not going to pick you, so how do you protect yourself? Well, this is how you cut one of the best promos of your career. They're out there doing it again. Like, they're talking about, like, titles and prior bonds and prior relationships and their own little bit of lore that they've had since 2022, like it is the most important thing to them both. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Seth Rollins probably won't win the chamber, but now we know how much he wants it if, just for example, Roman Reigns does appear and screw him out of it.
Oh my God.
When he has just told you that he will never drop his hatred for Roman Reigns, it's going to be renewed all over again for their potential singles match. Seth Rollins, God bloody bless him, as he was doing at the Rumble when he thought, right, I'll make it a three-way. Punk, you've walked back in at War Games and you've gone and taken my bloody Roman Reigns heat. Well, I'm going to take it back at the Rumble. What he might have done, if Punk is indeed being put over there with Logan Paul or over there with Cena or Cody or God knows what, Seth's saying, well, I might take my singles match with Roman back, thanks very much. I admire it. I genuinely admire it because you couldn't do it unless the performance was believable and enough people wanted it. And with Seth Rollins, there's always enough people that want it.
Before the main event, again, I never know with these segments whether or not they're stuff that we see or it was on the telly, like if it's just an ad break or whatever. But regardless, Jey Uso's checking on Akira Tozawa in the training room, and he bumps into those dickheads, A-Tan, Dan Ander, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller. And Grayson Waller is trash talking him about whether or not he thinks he can actually do all this stuff. And yeet, yeet, yeet. Jey Uso fires back, and the yeets get so infectious. Austin Theory does it. Grayson Waller's like, bloody hell are you doing, Austin? They argue, and Grayson Waller gets super kicked.
Really lovely symmetry here, because Gunther will, again, continue to not acknowledge that Jey Uso is remotely on his level. And what's Gunther done this week? he's kind of took the piss and been a bit of a Billy Big Bollocks with a lower card tag team. And what does Jey Uso literally do on the same show? And Gunther won't draw that line, but we get to. We get to continually know what Gunther, this wrestling genius, somehow doesn't know, which is that Jey Uso can do it. And here's more, like, this was really, really nicely laid out across the show.
And then the main event of the evening was for the women's tag team titles. It was Bianca Belair and Naomi versus... don't trust her. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Belair and Naomi didn't mess about, though. They immediately jumped Morgan and Rodriguez for what they did. After the in-ring introductions, they send Liv into the barricade, Raquel into the timekeeper's area. They're just beating up Morgan. The ref's like, we'll call it. We'll start it there. But Raquel trips Bianca, tags in. Bianca gets bounced off the barricade because Raquel pulls her out to the floor, and Liv and Raquel pose as we go to a commercial. When we come back, Bianca tags in Naomi. There's a kick to Raquel, a spinning bulldog, a running rocker dropper to Liv, and a springboard X Factor that gets a 2 count. Belair comes in and hits a 450 splash for a near fall, and Bianca also gets Raquel up for the KOD, but Raquel rakes the eyes. Liv tags in, and they hit that double team elevated code breaker for 2 on Bianca. Morgan goes for Oblivion, but Bianca's next to the ropes and holds on. And Belair and Naomi set up for a double KOD, but here comes Liv Morgan's other half, Dominik Mysterio, who runs down to ringside to distract the referee. Rodriguez breaks it up. She hits a Tejana bomb, basically, on Naomi. Morgan hits Naomi with the Oblivion. This is it. 1-2. Bianca saves it right at the very last second.
Incredible near fall.
Bianca also hits a spear on Raquel. Everyone's down. When they get back up, Naomi hits Morgan with a jawbreaker. Belair hits Morgan with a KOD moments later. But Rodriguez breaks up the cover. Belair and Naomi managed to hit Morgan, though, with a double KOD. And I thought, well, that's it.
That's it.
But at the last second, Dom grabs Liv Morgan's leg and puts it on the rope to break up the cover. And the referee calls off the count. Belair goes after Dom, but Rodriguez slams her on the announce table. Naomi hits a dive to take out Raquel. Morgan slides Naomi in a roll-up for a near fall back in the ring. The crowd are really into these near falls, by the way. Naomi hits a rear view. Dom gets up on the apron, so Naomi kicks him down. As the ref gets rid of Dom, Naomi sets up for the moonsault, but up pops Raquel Rodriguez, bounces Naomi's face against the ring post. She collapses back into the ring, and Morgan crawls over. 1, 2, 3. Your new tag team champions, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, the first 3-time women's tag team champions. Cole's putting over what a year Liv Morgan's having, and she's heading to the chamber on Saturday. Fireworks going off. As I mentioned at the start, Netflix obviously extending the runtime for this show for this match, and I think that just added to what a brilliant main event this was.
Totally. It was feeling like we were at the end of Raw. So as we went into those series of finishes, your brain was going, well, Raw's done. So it's not just because I'm into this match and I think this is the way the match is going to go. It's like, well, I know the TV show's coming to an end. And then it would keep going and going and going. Such great use of the flexible runtime for one of the first times, but like the best one yet, certainly since the Netflix move. I wanted to make a point of calling the triple threat at the start of this Raw the biggest over-delivery of the year, and it was the biggest over-delivery of the night, because this wasn't an over-delivery, because Livy Omega's been doing this all year. Like, this is not even the first awesome tag match Liv and Raquel have had, because they had that quality one with Damage Control a couple of weeks ago. It's not the first awesome in-ring appearance that Liv Morgan's had, because there's been a couple of singles matches, including the loss to Rhea Ripley and indeed the Royal Rumble, where she was part of the glue of some of the stuff that was taking place in there. I am not being flippant when I say Liv Ospreay is probably my wrestler of the year in WWE so far. I love what has become of Liv Morgan post-women's title. Like, it's not as if this has just happened overnight, and we've said about how she has taken her opportunities while putting the spotlight of one of Raw's top stars, and like, dirty little secret, not wrestling that much. Like, she was the champion and that feud was more about the big TV angles and the drama and all that sort of stuff. But very quietly has been working on the fundamentals of being the best Liv Morgan she can be. Because some of the stuff isn't all about the crisp execution, but it's about the whens and the whys and the how much the fans buy it. And the stuff that she does at this point, like her established... Punker, like her moveset, shall we say, might not be the cleanest or the best executed, but the execution is better than your average and deployed at the exact right points. She's a fabulous cut-off merchant. Like, look at the times that Liv Morgan stops the babyfaces in their tracks and resets for the heels. Like a crucial ingredient as a heel, but especially in a heel tag team where you've got your heater to come in and do some of the damage.
So Michaels and Diesel, this, wasn't it?
It so was, right? The Oblivion near fall. Oh my God. Again, the runtime issue coming in, it's like, and then because the babyfaces survive it, you were like, well, that was the chance.
Yeah.
That was the chance the heels had to get this done. Thank God. Like, Bianca and Naomi are out the woods now. Let's get to the big...
Didn't want them to win, though.
Like, let's get to the big finish. What's the big finish? It's a double KOD. Oh, great, we are getting it. Oh my Jesus Christ, they're still in this.
Yeah.
They're still in this. And to your point, the fans popped. Like, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, in this one-night quest to win, there will be great heels next week, but in this one-night quest to win the belts, we're kind of so in it, and up for it.
It's great.
That you were kind of like, oh, go on then. I want to shout out to Ibu of Wrestle Purist for this tweet, because he, and we have talked at length in the past on this podcast, and indeed myself with Ibu, just about our love of the 2023 Judgment Day tag main event formula.
Yeah.
Like, two of the bastards versus Cody +1. And how often was that awesome?
Yeah.
Like, it was such a failsafe for Raw in that just realistically the goldenest of the golden era, that summer of 2023. This was that. They summoned the magic and the Judgment Day got it done. And they suck so much ass these days that you're like, go on.
Yeah.
And Dominik comes down, he's like, go on, mate. And he's like, get it, we did it. And it's like, anything will do because they're getting knocked these days. He's had his head like knocked off by Bron earlier in the night. Finn Balor won't allow him to get a new member. Nothing's going their way. Carlito's useless. And it's like, oh, actually, they're the good ones. They're the, like, we've lost Damien and Rhea. We're just a bunch of stroke asses. No, there's two good ones, and it's Raquel and Liv, and it's especially Liv Morgan. What a great moment, a great night. The perfect time for Bianca and Naomi to lose the belts.
Yeah.
So the bookings, like, excellent as well, because you've got the Elimination Chamber now. There's nothing holding someone like Bianca Belair back from getting back to her rightful place in one of the biggest matches at WrestleMania, or Naomi being like, well, time for another title for me, I guess. Y'all. Like, I threw Jade Cargill through a car, so I'm fully prepared to do awful things to you in the chamber, Bianca, and you're going to see it firsthand, and I might have attacked her from behind, but I'm going to do it to your face, and then I'm going to say it's in the spirit of competition or whatever. Who knows where any of that's going, but was there a better time to take the belts off them than right now? I would say not. Sublime.
That was perfect timing.
Perfect.
Yeah, a wonderful ending to this show. And yeah, very excited to see where everybody goes next. Not just Liv, Bianca, Naomi, but Raquel as well.
Yeah.
Loved Raquel in this match. Yeah, phenomenal ending to the show. Let us know your thoughts on it and the whole show, either in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. You can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow our producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
and you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Me and Hamflett will be back later on today to preview NXT. But for now, this has been the Raw Review. My thanks to Michael Hamflett. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.